Addiction. It's an age-old problem, and one of the communities that has the biggest challenge is the queer community. This is Jim Cullen. He's a doctor at CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto. He specifically works with queer people and the queer community dealing with addiction and other issues.
I'm the clinic head and manager of Rainbow Services, which is an inpatient-outpatient unit at CAMH, and the IGT Concurrent Disorder Clinic, which is an outpatient clinic at CAMH.
Although he never had planned to get into addictions counseling, once he had started his education and had done some research on the numbers, he had realized what a prevalent problem it was in the gay community, a community that he's always identified with.
What research showed was that this population, this community, was not getting the service that it needed in treatment centers, mental health or addiction. They were often discriminated against and there were barriers to access, so they either dropped out of treatment or didn't access treatment. I had friends that were struggling with mental health and addiction. I wanted to give back to our community. It was important for me to work in the community that I'm a member of, so all those factors played a role.
And did you find that it was just the community wasn't getting the services it needed, or that there was a higher instance of addiction and mental health in the community?
Well, there were both things. One was there's a higher incidence, there's a higher prevalence of addiction and mental health difficulties. And the research is really clear about what that's about. It's about homophobia, living in a society that says that you're garbage and discriminates against you, has an impact on people. Not everybody. Some people sort of shoulder on and ignore all the societal messages, but a huge group of people actually, the constant images and the constant negativity influences them. And to cope, some people turn to alcohol and drugs. And in other situations, it makes people at higher risk for things like depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges.
One of the people who's faced some of these challenges is Matt Lewis, a gay man living in Toronto, Ontario, who struggled with alcoholism.
It's easy to go under the radar because it's the stigma attached to drinking, to alcoholism is that it doesn't affect the young. It's an old man's disease. It's something that people who aren't in their 20s don't suffer from alcoholism, which is probably one of the biggest myths. It can happen to anybody, and just everything in moderation, I guess, would be my best advice to everybody. Because I got caught for drinking and driving. It was actually the real slap in the face. Going through that whole process is not only humiliating, it's expensive. I spent roughly $45,000 that I didn't have defending myself. And I mean that's money that I could have spent doing something else. And it was the slap in the face that I needed to, get my life in